What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another deck profile here on TCGU. This is my Hiei deck for the Campus Championship. I was the runner-up, and I was playing probably his most unexpected symbol, Fire. So yeah, let's just get into this Fire deck list. Alright guys, so like I said, we were playing Hiei under Fire today. He's a 6-hander, 27 life, with probably one of the most unique statics in the game. While he's ready, I can look at both players' momentum, and then I can play a card from my momentum if I haven't played it from my hand already. So I can play a card from my momentum, and then play the same card from my hand. Super, super nuts. You just have to make sure you play your cards right. And he has a really good enhance, which I like, which is why I built the deck this way. Enhance, mill 2 cards, or discard the top 2 cards in my deck for +2 speed. And then if it deals damage, my opponent reveals 1 random card in their hand. So we get information, and we basically get free stats, free speed. So I'm playing 8 actions. Some of you veterans might know the actions I'm playing. I'm playing 4 Big Shot Judy. It's a 2/6 with a 1 low block. It's awesome low block. Enhance, -3 or +3 speed, and then I can add a copy of her homie, Big Shot Punch, to my hand. It's just like Judy, but it's the reverse, so it's going to be for +3 or -3 damage, and then I can add a Judy, and it's got a 1 high block. So we're going to mill a bunch of cards with Hiei, and just a bunch of other cards in our deck, build up a bunch of Big Shot Punch and Big Shot Judys in our discard pile, and then play 1, and get the other 7 copies to our hand, and Spirit Bomb our opponent. So onto the attacks. This is probably the wonkiest attack that I'm playing in my deck, but you guys will see afterwards. I'm playing 3 Dagger Strike. It's a 3/3 with a 1 low block. It's a 2 low for 4. It's got Weapon and then Stun 1, and then Enhance. My next tech attack gets -2 difficulty. This was just like a neat little poke, and I was also looking for attacks that had 1 low blocks that I could actually use. This one was actually pretty useful because the main way I found myself getting either advantage or beating my opponent was with 4 Coffee Samba. So I know it's a 1-check, but I mean, like, the 5/1 is fine. It's with the 2 mid block. It's a 4 mid for 4, but it's got a Desperation 2, tech, and weapon. And then it just feels like a lot of our deck because Hiei already enables us to see a bunch of cards in our discard pile. So then Coffee Samba is just going to enable us to see a bunch of cards in our hand with the cost, draw 2 cards, and then give your opponent to let your opponent draw 2 cards. And then we can give multiple X and stun X equal to the number of cards in our opponent's hand. So we're going to stun our opponent out, and then we're just going to end up playing Punch and Judies to just beat our opponent. Just blow them out. Yeah, super sweet. I mean, you could play 3 if you wanted to, but I was playing 4, and I literally saw one every single turn of the game. And if it touches once, then you just build it as momentum with Hiei, or for Hiei to play the next turn. So it's like you always have a Coffee Samba. And with Hiei, it's a 6 mid for 5, which is already pesky to deal with. We're playing 4 Firefly Gunner. I feel like it's absolutely necessary about any Chaos or Fire Hiei deck list, just because he does a lot of momentum manipulation. Plus, it's a 6 high for 6 in this deck, because if you use its Enhance to check a 7 to try and add a card from your card pool into your momentum and burn your opponent, and you fail, you can use its response to give +2 damage. And that's just if you fail any check. But then, so with that and the Hiei, you'll get a 6 high for 6. It's got Stun 1, which is nice. And yeah, sometimes you can just burn your opponent after playing a couple of Protecting Yukinas and poking your opponent, and then you can just burn them for game. This is honestly my favorite attack in the deck. I'm playing 4 Rapid Speed Slash, and I think it's probably sleeper best card. It's a 4 low for 4 with a 1 mid block. It's got Breaker 1, EX3, and Weapon randomly, which is kind of weird. But it's Enhanced. We can draw a card, or we can take the top card of our deck and put it in our momentum. But we have to have at least 1 momentum to play this effect. So like I said, a lot of momentum manipulation. We're trying to build a lot of momentum, but it's really nice because we poke our opponent with the Coffee Samba, we keep it, and then next turn we can play this, hit our opponent with it, and then we can use it for the Breaker 1 mid block, which is really nice. And it actually came up a lot while I was playing. And then just with Hiei in general, it's a 6 low for 4, which is nice. And then you can even EX it to make it a 9 low. Just being able to see the extra cards in your momentum in general is just really nice. So we're playing the 1s and we're playing Fire, so we might as well just play 2s because I mean it's better than a 1-check. So we're playing 3 Missile Launcher. I didn't want to play 4 just because I didn't want to play 8 bad checks. I'd rather play 7 bad checks. Plus with how the math of the amount of 6 checks I was playing. I felt like 7 was more reasonable than 8 because I felt like I was going to have to jam more 6s in my deck just with how ratios work. But it's a 5/2 2-mid block, 3 low for 6 with stun 2, EX 2, and then power for 4. Its Deadlock Enhance gives us +2 to all of its keyword ratings, or +3 to its keyword ratings. Sorry, baddie, can't read. And then I can mill 4 to give +4 speed or +4 damage, which is super nice. So like this card just blows people out, especially with Punch and Judy. So like on Hiei we'll mill 2, with this we'll mill 4, and then we have foundations in our deck that mill 2 as well. So we just mill a bunch of cards and we just find our Punch and Judy super quick. And like if we played a Coffee Samba before it, like we see like 5 extra cards at least, whether it's milling, drawing, or then the Hiei effect. It's just really nice. This deck goes through the like first couple turns in this deck, you're probably gonna cycle, so you have to be like careful and you have to do like a lot of counting. But this deck was super fun. And then the last card that we're playing is Tularaphobia, just for like the ultimate Spirit Bomb. If we use Coffee Samba to tap our opponent out and we have the full Punch and Judy combo, like Tularaphobia just kills our opponent. There's not really much they can do. The only thing they can do is Cool and Focus, because Nightmare Terrors and Flame War, sure, it'll reset the speed down to 0, and they'll block for it for free, but they'll still take half damage, which is going to be a lot, because we can get this up to like 26 damage pretty free and pretty easy. But it's Enhance, remove 1 card in our staging area, and we can double this attack's printed damage, which is super nice, and then we can just Enhance, give it +2 damage. We don't play any extra character cards, so we can't give it extra damage or extra speed, so it's just going to be Enhance for +2 damage. Plus it has Powerful too, so like if we build up momentum, we can make it like even stronger. And like it's on a 4, so like that's relatively cheap for our deck to play. On to the foundations, I just have them sorted by difficulty in alphabetical order, because that's just the way I prefer it. So I'm playing 2 Captain's Discontent. This is just good spam. That's what I was playing it for. Like my entire foundation lineup is spam, just because I'm playing 7 bad checks, the 4 1s, and the 3 2s. So I wanted to try and make sure I could build as much on turn 1, and I felt like it was really, really important for me to build as much as on turn 1 as possible. So it's a response flip after an attack with a keyword rating is played. I can give +2 or -2 damage. So like I can play a missile launcher, flip this for +2 damage. So then it comes in as a 6 5 low, yeah, like a 5 low for 5 or a 6 low for 5 or whatever. Like I said, it's just good spam. I'm playing 2 Debt to be paid. That's just good defensive spam. If we've taken damage this turn, I can flip, play Walk Committed. My opponent's next check to play a card gets -1. I'm playing 2 Inhuman Speed. This card actually like randomly came up a couple of good times, like during the tournament that we were having. Enhanced Commit, I can give +X speed, X equals my momentum, which that was relevant. And then the R Commit, after my opponent tries to gain Vitality, I can burn him for 2 and cancel the effect. That actually came up as well. But I was mainly using it just for the Enhanced Commit for plus speed, because it was good spam, and it covers low blocks. And like I was telling you guys earlier, I was looking for low blocks. We're playing 4 No Surprise, so it might be no block, but it's a 0/6 that mills us a card to mill our opponent a card, which isn't a huge problem. But this just says I'll mill an extra 1 on every single one of my attacks. So like with this in Hiei, we mill 3 on every single attack, which is really nice. And if our opponent tries to confirm their checks by like stacking cards or stuff like that, we can just get rid of them, which was nice. The no block actually just didn't really matter. And then we're playing 2 Push Limits. Like I said, I was just looking for spam, and it's good low blocks, and then it flips one of our opponent's pesky foundations, maybe. Yeah. Then we're playing 2 Wishing Ward as the last 0. If it's discarded, we get to draw a card, which is nice, and then it's Enhance, mill 3 to discard our opponent's momentum. Honestly, I should have played 4 of this, and I just shouldn't have played Push the Limit and just dealt with the 2 less low blocks, just because milling in our deck was like so important. Honestly, I should have played 4 of this. So onto the 1s. I played 2 Goro's Victory Pose. I just didn't want to be banged, or have my opponent like deliverance me on my Punch and Judy play or stuff like that. If my opponent tried to stop me when I have a bunch of momentum built up, this just says no, Enhance, flip. Neither of us can play actions. So like I could, if I'm scared of like a deliverance, I can like go through my entire Punch and Judy combo and then flip the Goro's Victory Pose. And now my opponent can't deliverance me. I'm playing 4 Police Connections. So it's a 1/6, which is the main reason I played it, and it's got a great one mid block. So we'll just use this like to literally block anything. But it also has a really good response. After our opponent tries to flip one of our cards, we just flip this instead. Like we do have good foundations. Like we are playing a lot of spam, but we do have good foundations that we want to keep. So we need to keep the few actual foundations that we're playing to stay face up by all means. This just helped that. And the 6 was actually like super clutch. I checked this card a lot. I mean, I know I'm playing 4 of it, but like I actually just checked this card a lot. We're only playing 3 as your nightmare. I just felt like Police Connections was just a little bit better, and I felt like my deck wasn't drawing enough cards to like use this card like efficiently. I feel like this is just good at a 3 of for how like the deck was built, but it's a 1/6 that we can once per turn discard a card to ready it. If our opponent stuns us, we can burn them. If we discard it, we can burn them, and it covers the high zone for us. So I was playing only 3 Bug Zapper. I actually like didn't see this after like the first couple of games I played, which was a little sad. But I actually like really didn't even miss it just because of how my deck was built. Momentum was important, but it wasn't like vastly important with like how a bunch of other Hiei lists are built. But it's a 3 low block 2/5 that are after our opponent or after we check an attack. Sorry, we put this into our momentum and then respond commit after we make a check. We can commit this and give plus to our check for each card in our momentum. I think this is our best foundation, but playing 4 Folktale Storyteller. This just says we play this, we mill 4, and we build the foundation. Our card pool, if we have 2 or more, we can mill 3 to build it down, which is super good. It's great on defense, it's amazing on offense, and it's got a 2 low block. So like this card's like literally like a dream for us. It's literally the perfect foundation for us. Then it also has enhanced commit to put a card back into our discard pile. So like there's this really sweet play that you'll see in one of the matches. I have spoilers, but this play was so sweet I had to talk about it. I had 1 card left in my deck after playing a Coffee Samba, and I used 2 of them to put a Coffee Samba and the Dagger Strike in my deck, and I drew a Dagger Strike and a Coffee Samba because I'm a god. It was super sweet. Playing 3 Protecting Yukina. I absolutely hate that this card has a 4-check. I think it's a little silly that all of Rando's like support has really great checks. This card just gets a 4-check. I think this card got shafted a little, in my opinion. Sorry to rant about it. But it's Enhance Destroy, give us a momentum, so that's why it has a 4-check. It definitely deserves the 4-check, especially with the 1 mid block. And then like they gave it a good block effect. Our discarded momentum, full block, no damage when we block with this. I really wanted to see this more often, but I also didn't like that I had to debuild to gain the momentum, just because I felt like my turn 1 build was so important, because I was like trying to turn to my opponent, or just like put my opponent in a situation where they're like almost guaranteed dead on turn 3. Playing 3, the Second Saintly Beast. This is just a better copy of Unhealthy Diet. It's got basically all the same things as Unhealthy Diet, but it's got a once per turn mill for speed instead of just mill 2 for 1 speed. But it also has a breaker 1 effect, and it has a deadlock, make our opponent flip a foundation effect. I don't have a lot of deadlock enhances, but the missile launcher deadlock enhance is like almost enough to just turn off our opponent from building into deadlock, because we'll just stun 5 them. But this card was super nice. Just being able to mill 3 for +2 speed, and then use Hiei to mill 3 for mill 2 for +2 speed. So we milled 5 cards for +5 speed, or +4 speed, which is just super free. Like we actually just don't lose any value, and it helps us dig for Punch and Judies. Like I said, I like this a lot more than Unhealthy Diet, just because it has the breaker 1. But we still are playing 2 Unhealthy Diet, just because it's another card that cancels Vitality gain for our opponent, and then this one just says mill 2 for +1 speed. So with Unhealthy Diet, the Second Saint Beast, and then Hiei, we mill 6 cards for +4 speed. Like I said, that's super good for our deck, because we're just trying to dig for Punch and Judies, just to beat our opponent with either a Coffee Samba, Missile Launcher, or one of our Allure-phobias. I kind of wish I would have took out one of the Unhealthy Diets, because it was a 4 for the Second Saintly Beast, but I just liked that this could mill on every single attack, and I was just trying to mill literally on every single attack. So yeah guys, that was my Fire Hiei deck list. I had a lot of fun playing and making it, as I usually do. I try to have a little bit more fun. when we do these tournaments, just because I don't like to act as serious. But sometimes I make some really crazy combo decks, and I think this is one of them. Just milling yourself like a bunch to find all your punches and Judies. If you want to make like the deck like this, I definitely would recommend while you're playing it to make sure that you count all your cards before you just go milling all willy-nilly, because you want to make sure that you play all your punches and Judies before you cycle, and you want to make sure you have enough cards in your deck so that you don't cycle before you play your last punch or Judy. But yeah, like I said, this was my Sweet Fire Hiei deck list. If you like the content, you can check us out down below on YouTube or even on Patreon at TCG University for other deck profiles or other content just in general. Our study hall, our cram sessions, stuff like that. We have a lot of great content for you guys, and you can check us out at Patreon. You can toss us a couple bucks, get all that awesome content a week early. And yeah, thank you guys very much for watching, and stay learned.